Yeah, me too. I already reset it back to the start. Well, yeah, I say that every place. I had some near misses in that race anyway. But, yeah. Alright, brother. Nervous about this first podcast. I gotta rearrange some stuff, folks, and then you will be in on the first ever Gear Up podcast. Logo there. Like I said, this is going to be our first podcast, so we'll going to turn off text-to-speech. We'll have a questions segment. That way, because we're going to have guests and everything, that way we can I'll be back in just a second. Get rolling with the first ever Gear Up podcast. Everything look all right? I'll be back in just a second, guys, and then the first ever Gear Up podcast will be under. Just a minute, folks, and then we will start this Gear Up podcast. Volume 1 episode. My turn. I had to get everything set up, and I was talking to chat. I'm going to actually do it. That at all.
All right, everybody, we're just going to wait on Shane here. Hope you guys enjoyed the music. If you were watching the race, hope you enjoyed that as well. But as soon as he gets back, we're going to kick it off. Thank you for your patience. This is first one, episode 1. So, you know. Could not figure out the YouTube. So I'll have to work on that. Thought it was just going to be a very simple, go live type of thing. Was not. But that's okay. Shane is taking a brief smoke break. Let's load this up. We're just going to get this out of the way, though.
All right. I am just about ready. Me another cold drink. Let me resize my picture that I noticed is out of whack on here. And then we'll be good to go. That way the fans can see both of us. All right.
All right, cool. Let's do this. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. We are proud to be here. We are honored to represent Lucky Dog League Racing as well as Royalty Racing, which is our team. We have put this podcast together for you to talk about anything and everything racing. We will cover iRacing and our leagues that we race in, as well as all of the Lucky Dog action on a week-to-week basis. In addition to that, once racing gets in the swing in the spring, then we're going to cover that as well. And endless amounts of content are out there. So welcome in. I am Joshua. My co-host is Shane. And this is the Gear Up podcast. Shane, why don't you go ahead and start us off with taking us through the rundown?
The rundown of what we're going to talk about.
You got it.
All right. Let me pull it up. You sent that via email or is that in the Discord?
That was.
See, guys, I told you this was going to be a work in progress.
That was, I believe, an email. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking. Ugh. There it is. Got it. All right. So we're going to cover. Josh did a great introduction, and then I was supposed to step in, but I had to find the email. So this is where we're at now. So we're going to tell you about ourselves first, how we got into iRacing, any kind of racing background we have, things that got us into being interested in racing. And then we're going to go through all the Lucky Dog, like, weekly racing coverage, which will cover the late models, the Mud Dog, which they run on Mondays, which I steer clear of because I'm a hazard on dirt, and then the Top Dog series, which is what, if you're in here, you probably watched tonight. So right now it's the 87s, and we just ran Bristol, and I would like to say my teammate looked like he had a really good run tonight. I started off really well, but a mistimed use of a fast repair ended up screwing us because we ended up with a meatball shortly after that.
Yeah, we can get into that race a little bit more. It's kind of all over the place, but
yeah.
We're also going to have an exclusive interview for you with the two admins of Lucky Dog. That is, of course, Drafty Beef, aka Matthew Everard, as well as F Bomb, aka Nick Yonts. Yonts, I think. We're going to take some questions, give you some answers. We're going to do that in between segments. If we see anything pop up in chats, feel free to ask. We're going to cover all that with you. And then we're going to close out with a segment that we're going to call the Gear Up Top Tip. And Shane is going to take us through that. But to lead us off, Shane, you got any questions over there in your chat yet? I don't have any.
No. Anybody got any questions? Can everybody in the chat? Can you guys hear all right? Just give me a yay or nay or something in my chat box over there to let me know.
If they say no, we'll step back and figure that out. But as far as myself, I got into iRacing, interested in it about a year ago. Started seeing some TikTok streams pop up when I was scrolling through, and decided to buy myself a setup and get everything going in July of last year. So it hasn't been too long, about 6 months now. And I race in the Lucky Dog Top Dog Series. We're about to race in the American Motorsports Association Truck Series, and we also race in the Stream Team Series on Thursdays. I am primarily an oval driver, although I recently got my A license, so I've been trying to challenge myself, branch out, and try some road courses, some dirt, oval, all the different things to try to not be a one-trick pony. Shane, what about you, man?
Yeah, so I've grown up around racing. My playpen when I was a really little kid was the inside of a race car that my uncle drove in the pits because my dad was his crew chief and my mom worked in the concession stand. So I grew up at the racetrack, and I've always had a passion for racing. For a short time, I drove short track, circle track with an old 82 Monte Carlo. No fancy series. It was just a strictly stock trophy class, but man, it was a blast. And I've played racing games like on console, stuff like that for as long as I can remember. And I've always wanted to get into iRacing, and finally I said, you know what? I'm just gonna build a computer and do it. So I looked up the specs, and luckily my dad's one of those jack of all trades that he can figure out how to build anything, and I gave him all the parts and he put me together a computer, and that was just under a year and a half ago. And so I'm an A licensed driver. I recently joined Royalty Racing. I'm fairly new to the Lucky Dog Racing League. I run their late models and their Top Dog series. So, and I run a lot of officials, and for the most part, I enjoy it. I mean, someone put it to me, well, not to me, they put it out to a race lobby one time early when I first got started. The whole lobby was having a pretty rough race, and some guy in there said, iRacing, it's the most aggravating fun you'll ever have. And that has stuck with me, and it is probably the best description I can give to iRacing.
Yeah, that's accurate.
So
cool.
Is it?
Yeah, so now Shane and I, we're going to bounce over to another channel. We're going to bring in Drafty Beef and F Bomb, get their interview out of the way. I know they've had a long night after racing and broadcasting, give you some insight to what it takes to be a league owner and admin as well as a broadcaster. Let's jump over there. Hey guys, you got us?
I can see you.
Nice.
Loud and clear.
Thank you for waiting. We had a couple little technical difficulties and some delay. I appreciate you guys being here. know it's been a long day for you after the race and broadcasting and everything. So we'll just jump right in. Going to ask you some questions about some different things. Shane, you want to lead us off?
Sure. I guess just kind of give us an overview of how you guys got into, what kind of racing backgrounds you have and what got you guys into iRacing to get started.
Yeah, I've gotten into racing at a young age. My parents took me to the local track, which had a quarter mile and a half mile and a drag strip all in one. So I fell in love with racing at a very young age, and been going almost every week the past 3 years now to getting my kids into it. Just love the sport, and finally got a computer that I was able to play it, and started doing some officials and realized how bad it was. Decided I wanted to start up Lucky Dog, and here we are now.
Yeah. You might want to be careful with that play word. Some people on iRacing get really offended if you call it a game or refer to it as play.
Oh, jeez. Sorry. Driving.
Well, you're not wrong there. Mine's kind of the same. I grew up around a local dirt track. Like, I had never even been to an asphalt track until I was an adult. Like, I had only gone to small short track racing, which near me we have plenty around me, so I have a lot to pick from. But yeah, it's something that me and my family always did together. We all grew up around it. My uncles worked on race cars, and they crew chiefed a couple cars, so we always had a reason to go. But that's really where I got my start in racing. And then as I've gotten older, I'm kind of in the same boat as Drafty. I like to take my kids so they can kind of get into it too, because it's something, to me, like, there's nothing like racing in the entire world.
Oh,
Like,
no.
it's
Yeah.
super exciting. Like, it's unpredictable. Like, it's incredible. Like, I love racing, always have. And I decided to get into iRacing because I have never got the pleasure of driving a real race car. So I said, this is probably going to be the closest I get to it, because I am already
Yep.
committed to
Yep.
Yeah.
to dad life. So I'm
Yeah.
going to go ahead and have something I can do at the house, in my spare time to kind
Yep,
of fill that
that's-
void that I've always wanted to do. So yeah, I got me a nice sim rig and all set up, and then started iRacing about 3 years ago. And I've primarily focused on oval dirt track racing. I've recently branched out into, especially with the Lucky Dog series getting started, branched out into some asphalt oval and then some road courses with the Simloft Esports racing team. So I'm starting to branch out here a little bit, kind of in the same boat as Josh there. I've kind of perfected the dirt tracks. I want to branch out a little bit to learn me something a little different. But yeah, that's pretty much my backstory.
Right.
Yeah, when
yeah,
you-
I can agree with the dad part, because that's when my race car went away, because diapers are expensive.
Yeah, they are.
Amen.
Mom, when you mentioned the other day in chat about the what is it, Formula V cars, like, you rather do,
Oh, boy.
I can't remember exactly what you said, but I felt that in my soul, because that is where I've tried to start racing on the road courses, and it is rough. So yeah, we're on that journey together. I got a question specifically for you, F-Bomb. You are a big racer, but I mean, you put on incredible broadcasts all by yourself. You do it from start to finish. And for anyone listening, watching, if you haven't checked out one of our broadcasts of the Lucky Dog League, or just one of his broadcasts in general, you need to, because it's fantastic. But I wanted to ask, what got you into wanting to go to the next level and start doing the broadcasting side of things for Lucky Dog and other leagues?
Okay. Well, it actually did not start with iRacing. So I started streaming in general because of a game called Wreckfest. So I was a league racer in Wreckfest, and I got, really good at it. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to start covering the races that I don't get to watch because I'm busy racing. And then it kind of slowly trickled into the broadcast side of things, where I started broadcasting more than I was racing. And I honestly got to the point where I enjoyed broadcasting more than I did racing. So I eventually stopped playing Wreckfest and just did full on broadcast. So that's where I got a lot of my practice and experience and worked out all the kinks. Because let me tell you something. Those of you out there that have never broadcasted anything live, nothing ever goes to plan ever.
Nope.
Like, you just gotta learn to roll with the punches, and with the technical side of things, Things are never going to work out like you have it down on a piece of paper. It just never does. So yeah, so I started doing it over there, and then that's where I met Drafty, because I was running the league over there and doing the broadcast, and I guess he had seen one of my broadcasts and joined my league, and then me and Drafty got to be pretty good friends, and then me and him both had iRacing, and it's something I've always done on the side, but a lot of those people that I play with over there, in that game don't really have iRacing. So as soon as one person, which was Drafty, said, "What do you think about starting up an iRacing league?" And I said, "You damn right, boys." You
Cool.
got it, buddy.
Yeah.
And I went
Well,
full tilt.
that saved me from asking the next question, because that was going to be the next question, was how did Lucky Dog come to be?
Well, that's exactly how it came to be. Drafty had a dream, and he asked me to join in on board. He had kind of already started setting up a few things. And I mean, with my experience and his knowledge, I mean, it just kind of blossomed into something, pretty damn good, if you ask me. Like, everything runs pretty smooth. We got a nice.
We got a couple comments in chat here. So Matt Braswell says Lucky Dog series is an awesome series, and then we have mid tier in all caps. It's a game.
Oh Lord.
Well, thank you, Mac Braswell. Appreciate that, man. Me and Drafty put a lot of heart and soul into all this. Like we talk every single day, and we iron out anything that comes up. We address it immediately, and we try to make everybody happy. I mean, we're never going to,
Nope.
because that's just the way it is. But we try to do the best we can. Everything's ever evolving. Especially 2023 for us was a big growing year. So we had to change a lot of things from start to finish, but I feel like we're starting 2024 off pretty strong. We got a good layout for all of our series that are running Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, and we're looking to branch out to a little bit more here and there. So yeah, it's been a pretty good start to the season so far.
Yeah, I would agree.
All right, I got one more question. Whose idea was it to run 200 laps at Bristol with 2 sets of tires?
It was 3. It was 3 total.
Yeah.
3
Yeah,
total.
you can't forget the one you started with.
Yeah, I know. I ran mine for 100 laps just to make sure I had tires for the end, and I ran out of fast repairs before I ran out of tires.
Oh Lord.
It was a tough one.
I pitted at like lap 80, maybe not even that. I know I pitted before everybody else, and my right front was at like 37% left. It was bad.
I was surprised. I pitted at 100, and mine was still just over 50% on the right front. I couldn't believe it. I was waiting on it to blow any lap. I didn't know if I was going to. The way it was driving, I thought it was down to the cords.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a tough one for sure. What would you guys say is your biggest challenge that you deal with week to week or day to day when it comes to not only running a league, but 3 nights of racing?
Oh boy. Drafty, you want to go first?
The biggest challenge, I guess, honestly, the biggest challenge is trying to come up with stuff that's going to keep everyone happy and everyone entertained and engaged in the league. And I think we've been doing a pretty good job of that. Trying to, like Bon said, we're kind of trying to branch out into some other things to keep everyone, happy. That's maybe not just oval enthusiasts, So I'd say personally, I think that's one of our bigger challenges.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that.
I do like how you guys have a feeder series and how you kind of police everything up. I think it's a really good system. This is really the first league I've stuck with. I've dabbled in a couple, and they just didn't seem like the right fit. And even though I still don't know. I haven't really gotten to know a lot of the guys in the league. I know a couple of them, really good guys. Drafty, really cool. Mid tier, really cool. F-bomb. I haven't really interacted with you a lot, but you seem like a good dude. And I just really like the structure of the league. I think it's put together well.
Well, thanks, because that's been the most thing that we worked on. So that's a big challenge. I would say probably the biggest challenge that we have on my side of things would be the politics of it, like trying to keep, like he said, everybody happy. Yeah. But when you have a penalty system in place, when you have, anything that is negative involved within racing, they just get bent about it. Like if they get a penalty, people want to argue with it, for days. Right. And I understand, because I'm a racer. Anytime I get a penalty, I want a good explanation. And I want a good reasoning behind it. So I would say that's probably the biggest challenge is answering all the messages that I get every single day about an incident that happened on track.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
would probably be the biggest hurdle. And I mean,
and
we have to have a fever series. We have to have it to get the other series to a point, to have good talent and not just people showing up here and there and wrecking the field and ruining the race for the for the faithfuls out there. So
right.
that's why the fever series is super strict. Like I am very hard on that series. Like they race the cleanest that they can, but I mean things are going to happen and penalties are going to happen. So I have to, at the end of the day,
Mid-tier's
answer
over here saying, "Freaking preach it, F-bomb."
Like, I mean, it is what it is. Like, I love every single person that shows up on the track. I appreciate every person that shows up on the track. I don't want to give anybody any penalties, but at the same time, if you make a mistake, I'm going to have to call you on it. It is what it is. A lot of people just don't understand that. They think that they are, invincible and they never do no wrong, But I mean, I understand that. I'm a racer. A lot of times I get called for something and I don't agree. So,
well, that and I know I've been in the situation, and a lot of people have been in the situation. It's hard to tell who moved more when you're driving.
100%.
And a lot of people want to jump the gun and say it wasn't me, and I've been guilty of it before too. Even in official races, I've chewed people up one side and down the other, and then looked at the replay and had to bow my head and key back up and apologize because I'm like, oh, that guy didn't do what I thought he did. I moved, he didn't.
Yeah, 100%, man. That happens. It happens to everybody. It happens to every single person that's ever hit the track.
Yeah. So I think some of the stuff is, where a lot of stuff's just hard to tell because it's a game of inches. So I mean, it doesn't take much of a sideways movement to get somebody out of shape. So
yeah, agreed. And a big hurdle for me is trying to run broadcast, race control, and try to be entertaining, but keep everybody happy all at the same time, and call penalties and review scenes. It's a lot to do on race day. So that's a huge hurdle for me is trying to find that happy medium in between. Making sure the broadcasts are enjoyable, but at the same time, it's still running race control the way it should be because that's my main priority there. But sometimes you can't find the balance. It's tough.
Absolutely. I was gonna say, like, the fact that you do all of it every night, is a lot. And I make it a point to watch every broadcast back, whether I'm in the race or, it's the day after or whatever. I'm always impressed with how fluid it is and entertaining, overall. Quick shout out. Appreciate the follow to Daddy Lugnut. That's awesome. Thank you on Twitch.
My boy.
And then Drafty, we'll close out after this, but I know you're strongly involved in the recruiting portion of things. We've talked a couple times about how you go about recruiting because I've had questions as someone trying to build a team now. And so take us through, a couple of the things that you like to do. And then for all our viewers out there, followers that are listening in, watching, how do they get into Lucky Dog?
Well, for any viewers that are watching, if you have Facebook, which I'm sure most of you do, when I go and I do recruiting runs, I post in literally every single iRacing group page that is out there that allows league recruitment on it. So I try to do that about once a week or so towards the beginning of the seasons, try and get as many people as I can. And like I said, the feeder series though makes that work so well because I can just say, hey, everyone, come try it out. You can come do some races with us. And then with that feeder series, it normally weeds out the people that don't want to try and race good or just are weapons on track and they end up DQing themselves anyway. So I feel like that keeps us with a good amount of good drivers in the league.
That makes sense for sure. And a lot of times too, even if they are attempting to race clean or whatever it is, like they might realize, okay, this skill level isn't quite where I'm at just yet. And they might decide to, stay in the Discord and work on it, or just excuse themselves. So I think the feeder series is a really cool idea for sure. It definitely makes it easier on you instead of trying to inspect and watch each person drive a certain amount before you ask them to join and all that stuff. Shane, you got anything else for them?
No, I think that's about it. I appreciate y'all's time, and hope you.
Yeah,
hope you
thanks for
enjoy
having us on.
The
Yeah, man, I appreciate it.
volume number 1 of the Gear Up podcast.
And I promise, one of these days I'll have a camera once I get set up in the new house.
No worries. Gentlemen, appreciate you guys staying late with us, joining us on episode 1 to kick this thing off. It will not be the last time either of you is with us. I definitely am sure of that. So we'll cut you loose, and we'll go ahead and go on with the rest of the show.
Hey, thanks for
All
having
right.
us on.
Yeah, I appreciate
no
you guys a lot,
problem.
man. Really excited about the Gear Up podcast deal. So really appreciate you guys,
Likewise.
and hopefully you guys are excited for the future, because we got some things in the works, and I hope you
Right
guys are
on.
excited about it.
Cool. Appreciate it.
All right, you guys have a good night.
You
You
too.
as well. Shane, we got any questions over there from anybody in your chat yet?
Not really. Anybody got any questions?
Cool.
Questions?
We can bounce back to that. We'll take a brief second to shout out one of our sponsors. Shout out to Majestic Promotional and Branded Apparel. If you want work shirts, if you need sports jerseys, or even custom pens with your logo on it, check that out. Got their logo right there on the pen. Then you can reach them through me, through our Facebook, or even through Shane. So shout out to them. They are our main sponsor. And at this point, we're going to start going through the 3 series of Lucky Dog Racing. We're going to start with the Sunday night late model stock series, which just ran week 2 couple
Hold
days
on.
ago.
I have a question. I have a question.
Let's
in chat.
do it. Yep.
Mid-tier asks.
Oh,
It's a
boy.
question for me.
Oh, boy.
How do I feel about finishing ahead of him tonight? And let me just say, I feel freaking fantastic about it, mid-tier. I do, because after the smack you talked yesterday, was it yesterday? I think it was
He
yesterday.
was talking some smack.
It was well deserved, and karma got you for it. See, that's why you don't talk like that.
He was talking some smack, man. Cool. All right, let's so late model stock series. Shane, you racing that. You've raced the first couple weeks.
Ooh.
And
Yeah.
let's see. So we got a lot of new faces. I mean, as Drafty just said, this is a feeder series. So lots of names on the list. How you feeling about that race Sunday night at Slinger Raceway?
Oh, so, and I think iRacing has some work to do on that track. So I'm pretty sure the pace car turned the fastest laps. When the caution came out,
It
we
looked
were
that
having
way.
to turn record lap times to try and catch the pace car. And getting on and off of pit road was a nightmare. And we got meatballed early in that race. So we were I don't even remember where I finished, but I finished.
Yeah,
And
you did.
I don't think I finished terrible, but we had a lot of struggles at the beginning. But everybody, because that is people say Bristol is like flying a jet in a gymnasium. That is nothing compared to running Slinger. That track is tiny.
Yeah, you finished
And
10th,
high
by the way.
banked. All right.
Got top 10. Yeah, I think
Seems to be
one
the
of
number I'm
things-
stuck on.
Yeah.
That's where I finished tonight too.
I mean, top 10 is awesome when there's 24 cars in the field or whatever.
Yeah.
Or
it was a big
entrance,
field.
I guess.
Well, there were
19.
19. There were
Yeah.
19 entrants, and we were only taking 18, and I
Mhm.
qualified 16th.
Yeah, can you
So
imagine being that guy? I don't know who it was. I
I
didn't
know.
look at it
I
specifically
but
because we're not
while
on
I
here to
was
call anyone out.
practicing, I was telling my chat that I almost hope I'm that guy
Yeah,
because this race is going to
yeah.
be hectic.
I
And I
one
was
thing,
right.
yeah, you were right. One thing I noticed was the pit exit, in my opinion, and I'm basing this purely off the local track we have close to my house here. I don't think it's meant for pit stops. It's meant for
No,
like
it's not.
track
It's
exit, your
right.
car's done for the
It's
night or whatever.
yeah.
And
It's
yeah,
it's built it's designed basically like where I ran at Orlando Speed World, where you go in and out of the track. Well, that one has two entrances. Orlando Speed World, you go in and out of the track in the same spot.
okay.
So, and all the pits are behind the backstretch grandstands.
Yeah,
But that's hometown racing style track where
sure.
it's not designed for pit stops. It's designed to go out, you run your heats and your features, and then you're done.
Yep.
And I mean, it was interesting to try and do all that, but just that pit exit was insane. Like I don't think I left there once without leaving paint on the wall on either the left or the right side, as narrow as it is.
Yeah, it's extremely narrow. I feel like that was a big disconnect, or the biggest disconnect between that track and iRacing itself. It's accurate to the way it is, but not made for those longer races with pit stops having to come into play.
That and combined with, I don't know what kind of fuel they put in the pace car, but that thing was
that was crazy.
It was tough to catch.
It was.
So
let's go through a little bit results wise. Michael Weissman is back in the late model stock series this season. He was a force to be reckoned with last season to start, and then had some things he had to step away altogether from the league. But he's back. He's got he's done absolutely terrific. His average start is second. His average finish is second. He won the first race, and then lo and behold, Caleb Sisk won the other race. How do you feel about running with those two guys on a weekly basis? They're awesome.
I don't have to worry about running with them because I don't see them unless they're coming up behind me to lap me. Those guys are on another level.
They are. They absolutely are. I mean, Caleb Sisk is up there every single race.
But Caleb's a pro late model driver, right?
I have heard that. Yes.
So I mean, if iRacing is the real deal, then he should be right at home, and it shows.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, he's one of those ones that you could see competing for big bucks on the sim for sure. Now, someone else I wanted to talk about. He's a newcomer to the series, to Lucky Dog in general. Dalton Creech. He has an average start of 5th, but average finish of 3rd. He's been up there in the mix the first 2 races. Do you know much about him? Have you seen him run or anything like that?
No, I haven't. I was gonna say, you don't have my average start and finish on there, do you? Because you're not reading that out loud to
I'm not.
Audience.
I won't read it.
All right,
we're gonna skip it. It's gonna get better. It's gonna get better. I promise.
Yeah, I really until I came to Lucky Dog, I really hadn't run the late models at all. So I enjoy running it on Sundays because it's something pretty new to me. A lot of the short tracks, I hadn't run, and I definitely hadn't run the late models. So I really enjoy driving that car, but I think it can be driven a lot harder than what I do. I think I tend to be a little too conservative, but it's a fun car to drive.
I mean, it takes getting used to. I agree with that. It's an amazing car to drive. I absolutely love it.
Oh,
but, yeah, if I had to pick, I wouldn't. I mean, it's too hard to say sleeper, right? Because we're 2 weeks into the season. We know Caleb is going to be there. We know Michael's going to be there. These are Dalton's first 2 races with Lucky Dog, so we can't say he's a sleeper. But if I had to pick someone right now that would contend for championship going down the stretch that wasn't Caleb Sisk or Michael Weissman, my pick is going to be Dalton Creech.
Mid-tier's pick is JD.
JD Van Kirk. Yeah, I mean, that's a solid pick also.
Yeah.
I did want to shout out somebody here, another newcomer, and then we'll move on to the Mud Dog series, which will be quick. Jake Handlovich, I hope I'm pronouncing that name right. This is just a stat that I was looking through the numbers, the points. I had to call this out. The guy's sitting 5th right now in 2 starts, okay? His average start is 17th. His average finish is 7th. That's
Wow.
10 spots. Now, going back to it, I know it's super early, right? We're 2 races into this thing. But to
Drafty
have
says you can take as much time as you want on Mud Dog because he's running good in that series.
I mean, we're not going to zoom past it, but I
Right.
mean, we're, 2 weeks in, there's not as much to talk about as we're going to have in other
How many?
series. But
How I was gonna ask because I haven't had a chance to watch any of them, and I certainly am not running them and being a hazard to everybody else. How many cars are entering those?
today, I watched the broadcast from last night, but last night there were 8 entrants, 10 maybe.
Oh,
I feel
well,
like
that's
it's
that
it's
on a
not
dirt
bad.
on a dirt short track. That's a good field.
Yeah, and it's going to grow. It's a brand new
Oh
series.
yeah,
It's kind of like what was the Elite 100 last year. That consistently 8 to 10. And now we've added a few people. So now we're starting to get into the 12, 13 range. But yeah, that Mud Dog series, we'll move into that. Speaking of Michael Weissman, no shock to anybody, I'm sure, but he also won the first Mud Dog Series race, followed by Clayton Wise last night. That dude is just terrific. Like, he's phenomenal on dirt. That is his bread and butter. I know him a little bit better because we had some connections early on, but Clayton is a monster on dirt. And you're not running that, Shane?
no, I got no interest. I got no interest in going out there and beating up everybody else's race car.
Fair enough.
I have fun. I have fun on dirt. In iRacing, I'm only a D license in dirt, and I have fun on it. But I only run them from time to time, and I just try to stay out of the faster guys' way because I'm one of those guys that I go into the corner low, and by the middle of the turn, I'm up by the wall, and that
Yeah.
I can't do that with these guys. I'll end up messing up their races, and I don't want to do that.
The thing for me on dirt that I'm learning slowly, but
Mid tier says Clayton and Elijah both.
yes, Elijah as well. I mean, that kid, I say kid, I think he's like 19. He's a beast. It doesn't seem to matter where, pavement, dirt, he's mixed up in some stuff tonight, but yeah, he's a beast as well. 16, F-bomb, correct me. Elijah, geez, 16 years old. He's getting it done. Though the points do not reflect, simply because Clayton and Michael both did not run last night's race. So the points, Alan Grote is in first in points. Drafty is running second. Congrats, Drafty. Keep up the good work there. And then Dan Amis is in the top 3 there. Actually, he won the first race. I misspoke. Michael Weissman did not win that first race. He started first, I guess. Anyway, yeah. So, Dan Amis, that's your top 3. So yeah, Matt, keep it up, man. Shane, you got any comments on the Mud Dog series?
Drafty wants to know what points you're looking at.
Am I in the wrong points, man? Maybe that was one race, amateur hour.
Because he said that's wrong.
That's wrong.
What's the top 3,
Seasons,
Drafty?
Mud
Give them to
Dog.
me real quick. I don't have the.
Oh,
I'm
you
scared.
know what?
I'm scared to open the Discord, and then I don't want to mess up my stream windows.
That's my bad. I bet it's wrong because I'm going off iRacing points.
Drafty's P1.
I got you. I'm glad you corrected me. I was looking. I
That's
just.
the whole reason he's still tuning in is because he wanted to hear us say he was
Yeah.
P1 and you blew it.
I blew it, man. All right, here, we'll do it again.
Ryan is P2 and Alan is P3.
Okay. All right. I'm looking at iRacing points. That's my mistake. I should have known that they're different. So yeah, that won't happen again. Might be. Let's look at the real points. Yeah, Drafty Beef number 1 with 30 total points. Ryan Barrett right behind him with 29, and then Alan Grote at 27. Jake Raven at 25, and then Clayton only with 1 start, but he got the dub at 5th right now. So close racing. Only a couple weeks to go. That's going to switch. One of you guys can correct me since you're in chat. That's going to switch after the 4 weeks.
Donovan, the league does
Sorry, Drafty.
a different point system. So you get bonus points for certain things, and I think the points. I've never set up a league. Drafty may be able to expand on this, but I don't know if you can adjust how the points are calculated in iRacing. But for the league, you get bonus points for certain things that I don't think iRacing points account for.
Nice. Yep. I knew that. I got to remember that. Drafty, here's your deal to me, bud. Since I goofed it up this time, you have to stay number 1 after next week so I can give you a huge shout out next week. That's a deal right now. We're making it. Yeah, and F-Bomb says the Monday night series is changing every 4 weeks. So that's going to be really cool. Lots of variety there. Now, I'm not going to make the second or the same mistake twice as we go into the Top Dog series. Shane, let's start with what's fresh on our mind. Tonight's race, how do you feel about it?
I felt good for the first 100 laps. I thought we were doing all right. We got all the way up to 4th at one point. And then man, we got caught up. I got caught up in an accident. Car spun in front of me and I had nowhere to go. Beat up the front of the car. Didn't get a meatball, but I pitted. Or no, I didn't get a meatball, but I pitted and used my fast repair because it was like around lap 110, 115. And I was like, this has been a pretty clean race. I think I can use my fast repair here, get it done, and be good. And it was like 5 laps after we went to green. That's when Elijah was sideways in the track right in front of me, and I got meatballed for that one. And that jacked my steering all up. So I was in bad shape after that. So if it wasn't for a couple of people tapping out early, I would have finished shotgun on the field in that race tonight. Yeah. We ran good, and I think we had a shot at the top 5, maybe top 6, but just didn't have the luck on my side.
Yeah, that's I kind of noticed, during cautions and stuff like that just seemed like you're in and out of the pits a lot trying to get any of that damage fixed.
Yeah. It was when you spun. I'll have to make a TikTok out of it. When you spun and your car was backing towards the wall.
Yeah.
I don't know how I fit between you and the wall, but I made it through that without touching you or the wall, and I thought for sure I was going to cream one or the other.
Was that the first one, the very first caution? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I was on the inside of Justin Waddell, I believe, and just, no fault of his, just tapped the wall, came down, and I was just wrong place, wrong time. My race was 2 separate races, man. The first 100 laps couldn't have been more amazing. my whole plan, because I knew I wasn't the fastest, my whole plan was to save tires and then just pick them off, when I could, position wise, and kind of put myself in a position to finish top 5. And I did that. I mean, I even led a lap at one point because I was comfortable staying out a lap or two later than everyone else. It
Right.
all changed when I came into the pits. I got a penalty, 40 seconds for speeding. And 40 seconds at Bristol is not good. That's at least 2 laps right there. On top of the slower pit stop in the 87, I dropped 3 or 4 laps. And it just put me in a bad situation.
Oh, you should have
there.
seen my pit entry under green on lap 101. I went from the middle of the corner up by the wall, realized that I was where pit entrance was at, locked up the brakes and drifted it down and got the pit road speed limit right as I hit the line.
That's awesome.
And mid-tier says you were super fast tonight until you pitted.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what threw me all off. My whole setup, was still going to be like, okay, just pit and then do the same thing, right? Run these tires out. I'll have more tire than them later into the race because I pitted later, and it didn't work out that way because first the penalty that I cost myself, I seemed to make a bonehead move so many times it just kills me, and then just getting wrapped up in a couple cautions that I'm fortunate to finish where I did because I had used my fast repair on that second to last caution.
You've got a lucky horseshoe or something on your sim rig somewhere, because even in that charity race, man, we hedged our bets and I pitted and you stayed out, and that was the move because I got caught up in that late race wreck right after that. And you dodged that bullet by staying out. And I noticed that you've got all the good luck in this team, and I've got the opposite end of that.
Just for now, you know what? And it started when I went to Vegas and I hit 17 for $25, or with $25 on it for about $900.
Yeah.
The good luck started there, so I'll ride the wave as long as I can. As far as points go, they're not officially updated, so we're not going to touch it because it's going to be wrong on iRacing. But one thing we do know for sure, Kenny Kucko has won both of the first races in the Top Dog Series this season. He's just driving the hell out of that 87. And I mean, he was, a fraction of points away from winning a championship in the Elite 100 Series last season. What do you think he does so much different or better than everyone else out there on a weekly basis?
Man, one thing I noticed about the guys that were really fast up there at the front was they were able to enter the corner a lot faster than I was. I think I was so focused on conserving tires, even in practice. And I just never could find the sweet spot. I mean, I went both directions with the steering offset. Brake bias is key in those 87s. You've got to be able to adjust that. You've got to be able to adjust that throughout a run. And because then things get so tight so fast. You've got to be able to dial down that brake bias throughout the course of a run so you can still use the brake to help the car turn. But those guys, like I said earlier, there's a handful of them that are just on another level, and they just seem to. I feel like if I went into the corner at the speed they did, I wouldn't be coming out the other side. Like I probably wouldn't even make it to the middle of the corner before my right front fender's in the wall, And I can't figure out how they do it.
They're quick, man. They are extremely quick.
It comes down to just experience and practice, and that's one of my shortfalls is I don't take the time. I don't practice well because I feel like I'm just logging laps, and I never practice well. Even when I drove a race car, my practice times were significantly slower than my race times because there's really nothing on the line. You're not chasing anything. You're not. So I guess it's just, I learn more in a race than I do in practice.
For sure. And going back to the Bristol race tonight, I felt the exact same way. I think I was like 10th quick or something like that in practice. But then we get out on the racetrack, and grid up, and then I wasn't 10th quickest. All of a sudden I was pretty quick. I would say at least top 5, until tire wear. I mean, I even was catching Joe Healy right before he pit because of the tire saving. So it's a challenge to not work too hard in practice, and get too stuck on that lap time when so many things are going to play out so differently. You don't have your ideal line necessarily. You got someone slower in front of you temporarily. You got to pass on the outside. I mean, there's so many different things that can change the outcome of what those practice times are.
Oh, for sure. And driving style plays a big part in it, because your driving style is what makes or breaks your tires as well. So, I mean, you see it in official races all the time. You have the jackrabbits that take off right at the start of the race, and 15, 20 laps later, it's like they got a parachute behind their race car, and you're driving right back by them because they've fried all their stuff.
Yeah, that's a pretty common thing in officials for sure.
Yeah.
And just brief recap.
Hold on, we got a question from Donovan Miller. He
All
said,
right.
could that be because of practice setup and race trim though? Not really, because in this league we run fixed setups, so it's the same setup regardless. The only thing that can change it is like track temps. So that'll definitely affect the handling of the car and make you have to adjust it in a different way. So if the track temps are significantly different from your practice to your race time, it'll completely change the handling of the car. So you may have it figured out in practice, and then if you go to the race and the track temp is 30 degrees hotter, then the car is not going to handle like it did in practice, and you're going to have to figure it all out again.
Yeah. Yep. Good explanation there. Top 3 from tonight. Kenny Kucko, of course, I mentioned he got the win. That's number 2. We're gonna have to get him on the show, man.
Right?
Try to pick him, prod him for some secrets. Just kidding. He won't give us secrets, but I'd love to chat with the guy. F-Bomb gets to chat with him every Tuesday, I feel like, since he's always in the top 3.
Yeah. But to the point where they ought to be roommates by now, I think.
Yeah, we're gonna have to work that out, man. We got to get Kenny Kucko. I got to learn how to say his name. I can't speak. I'm not even drinking.
Yeah. Let's get that right before we get him in.
I'm just gonna start calling him Kenny.
Yeah,
we're just gonna do that. We're just gonna call him Kenny. All right. So Kenny wins. Michael Weissman, he finishes second. He is all over this list of the Lucky Dog Racing. Glad to have him back. One heck of a competitor and great driver out there. And then last year's Elite 100 champion, can't leave the show without giving him a shout out. JD Van Kirk. He came in, finished 3rd tonight. So that's the podium for the Top Dog series. If anyone's wondering how you get into the Top Dog Lucky Dog series, it is by invite only. That's where F-Bomb and Drafty were talking about the feeder series, which is the late model Sunday night series. So that'd be where you want to start. If you want to get involved, you start with the late model series. You have your option to run the Mud Dog series.
And mid tier expounded on the practice and race question a little bit. He said not to mention practice really is great, but sometimes it can be a little pointless because you don't really know, you don't have laps to compare to know whether it's a fast lap or not compared to, if you're in like a solo practice or whatever. So that's a good point. It
perfect point actually, because I'll run laps and I might hit my quickest lap on lap 20 and it still might be 3, 4, 5 tenths off of these top guys. I have no idea of that until we get to the track. Right.
Yeah. And so when I practice, one of the main things I look for is feel. So first of all, I want the car to feel good. I want it to be predictable in the handling. So the biggest thing I hate is a car that's unpredictable because you're scared to give it throttle coming off the corner because you don't know if it's going to snap loose or not. So I look for handling and predictability, and then I try to find the speed after that.
Sure. Anything to close us out as far as the Lucky Dog series goes, or Top Dog series? Just made an account after.
Yeah.
Check this out, bro. Check this out. Kenny, he's on my Twitch chat. Just made an account after you guys started to talk about me. Yeah, there we go. I mean, we're praising you, man. You're
we're talking about we want to get you on the podcast.
We want to get you in here, talk to you.
2-week consecutive winner
about your success. I mean, several week winner dating back to Elite 100, not necessarily in a row.
At this point, he's got to have his own. We probably have to go through his agent at this point, right? I mean,
we probably do. Yeah, contact
he's
his
too
manager.
Busy. He's too busy doing post race interviews with, from Victory Lane. I don't know if he'll have time for us, but I hope he can make time for us at some point.
Yep. But Kenny, congrats on the win, man. You're killing it out there. I aspire to be up there with you someday, and hopefully racing for a dub. But yeah, keep up the good work there. Shout out to our other sponsor, Speed Racing Network. They are a one-stop shop for a lot of the top leagues around iRacing. You can literally bring them a league. They will broadcast it for you. Get all your people in that Discord. They also host their own 2 series, which is a money series, which is really cool. So shout out to Speed Racing Network. They're on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Facebook, a lot of different groups. But wanted to shout them out. That's our other sponsor. And then we're going to close it out here. We're going to take questions at the very end. But Shane, why don't you walk us through our first ever Gear Up top tip?
I've been waiting on this. I have been waiting on this. If you guys have watched me race on my streams, you guys go ahead. I'll give chat a second. What's my number 1 pet peeve? Somebody put it in the chat. You got to know it if you've watched me race because I complain about it regularly.
I would love.
What's my biggest beef with other drivers on iRacing? Come on, chat. You got 10 seconds.
I would love if somebody actually posts this.
Not acknowledging that comment. Next comment. That's right. Not holding the brakes.
There it is. Let's go.
When you are involved in a wreck, please, once your car is completely sideways, once that thing is unsavable, lock it down. Just lock it down because by letting that thing free roll, all you're doing, everyone's judging where your car's going. And yeah, I figure BG. BG says he presses on the gas. But when you let that thing free roll, all you do is just roll it right into traffic because everyone's trying to split their way around you. The best thing to do is just hold your brakes and let traffic navigate around you.
Yep.
And I ran 5 races at Rockingham last week in the trucks. 3 of those 5 races, I was wrecked by someone not holding their brakes after they were in a wreck and I was trying to go by and they just let the truck roll down right in front of me. And I lost my cool for the first time ever on my stream. I literally yelled, screamed at my monitor because it happened 3 races in a row. And the 3rd time it happened, I lost it.
Man.
So please, for the love of everyone's safety rating and I rating, hold your brakes when you're in a wreck.
Yep. One other thing that does too is, perfect example. I got tapped tonight, went sideways. I was on the brakes. I was still rolling up the track slightly because, like you mentioned it, right? if I wasn't on the brakes, you would have never got past me.
No, I
There
wouldn't
would have been no way
No.
you squeezed past me. But
Mm-mm.
because of
I'd have been
that,
in your door.
you could tell my momentum, where I was going. You had plenty of time to get past me, and it worked out for everyone. No one creamed me, and I didn't get into anybody else, so we all just kind of went on. Kenny, quick comment in the Twitch, says his top tip would be easy in and hard off. That means
Yeah.
easy in on the corner, easy
That was
entry, and hard on exit. That's a good tip. We're going to have, we won't do a tip every single week. We're going to have a lot of different segments that we're going to bring in, make it different, and not be stagnant. We might not always cover the late model stock series or vice versa, with the top dog, whatever. But we're going to throw it out there. So, one last thing I wanted to touch on,
BG.
Shane,
If they need that tip, they need to just disconnect from iRacing. BG's top tip is gas on the right, brake on the left.
Oh boy, yeah, that's. Hey, I've raced a couple people like that in officials though, especially in rookies. But hey, that's where you cut your teeth. That's where you're learning. No fault to anybody. I encourage you, get out there, learn, get better, work at it. Make it fun for not only yourself but fun for everybody else. But one last thing to touch on, then we'll cut it. We're approaching an hour, so that's good time. But the Stream Team series, that is on Thursday nights. Stream Team series. It's a super cool series that Jeremy Gill, Joe Healy, and a whole handful of others have helped put together. And it's like 25 people all live at the same time across multiple different platforms. Everybody's streaming. And honestly, not only do you find some of the absolute best streamers as far as content goes in those races, but you will find a very, very high level of racing skill in those.
Yeah, we're running the Xfinity cars, and last week was 75 laps, a 75 lap race at Auto Club. And the only caution we had that race was at the competition caution at lap, 30, 35?
I wish that was true. There was one more because I caused it. Unfortunately.
Was there?
I got
there was
in
another caution?
Yeah, I got into or no, that was my bad.
No, that was the week before.
That was the Top Dog series in the 87s. Yep. You're right, man. One caution.
No,
Only the
yeah. All we had was the competition caution.
Yep.
So
and,
maybe it's Vegas. Auto Club was week 1. It was Vegas this week, and so we're running Bristol this week. So you get to watch me run Bristol twice.
Goodness.
I just ran it in the 87s, and now I get to run it in the Xfinity car on Thursday night.
I won't be in that race, but you're gonna win. I know it.
Oh, with the skill level of guys in there, unless they all take each other out, I'm maybe a top 10 car, but I don't know about winning.
That's going to be a crazy race because you put 20 plus cars on Bristol and it's almost constant traffic.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's going to be crazy. Breaking news to close this out. Breaking news. Points for the Top Dog series have been updated and posted. Kenny is leading, no shock there because he's won both the first races. Michael Weissman is second, and then JD Van Kirk is in third. So they actually, points line up with the finish. So that's cool. I moved up to 5th. That's awesome. And then Shane, you're at 7th, just 3 points right behind me. So
really,
yeah, we both moved up after last week. And of course, we had 2 people come out tonight that weren't in week 1, so they'll make a difference going forward. Elijah Parker comes in, and then Clayton Wise. They both had.
Elijah really dislikes these cars.
Their performance.
Really
yeah.
do.
I like
he had my stream up during the race, and under cautions, he was talking to me through chat.
Was he?
Telling me how much he hated those cars.
Oh, he doesn't like them. You were being
Oh
sarcastic.
yeah. No, he really doesn't like the 87.
Got it. Okay, so we may see.
But
him.
he was driving it well. I mean, he was.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I was running. You know, when my car was in one piece, I was running up there in top 6 or 7, and he was right behind me.
Yeah, I feel for him. He got mixed up in a couple bad
Yeah.
incidents, but yeah, cool. Well, unless there's any questions on Shane's side, my chat is good. We really appreciate you joining us for the first week of the Gear Up podcast. This is going to be a weekly thing, Tuesdays after our race. It normally will not be this late. We had a lot longer race this evening than normal. Shane must have got a funny comment, but we're going to close it out here and then post the video. That way everyone can watch it that didn't get to. What do you got for us, Shane?
Well, mid-tier says these cars need to be demolished.
Oh man.
So, and Donovan Miller says, "Congrats on your first podcast." Thank you, Donovan.
Yeah, appreciate that, Donovan.
It's gonna be a evolving thing. You know, things will get smoother as we go. Transitions will get smoother. I'll be a little more prepared and have the schedule in front of me instead of having to spend the first 2 minutes looking for it on my phone.
That's all right. Yeah, that's all right. Week 1.
I feel like it went well. Did you guys enjoy it?
F-Bomb enjoyed it. Appreciate you too, man. All the work that you put in on a lot more often than we will to this. You know, we get to go out and race and reap the benefits of his amazing broadcasts and all those people that he drives to it. Appreciate the follow. Who followed? Well, it might maybe F-Bomb.
Thanks, BG. BG says great stuff.
Yeah,
So,
appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. And we will...
Let's go. What I get? Subscriber?
Nice.
I just got a noise. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
See, you should have my face on your screen more often. This
Yes.
gives you stuff you never had before.
It's been a while since I've gotten a subscriber on Twitch. It's been a while. But,
if you guys enjoyed it, we'll be back again next Tuesday after our league race. If you didn't enjoy it, we'll still be back next Tuesday after our league race.
Yeah. You guys will be able to catch the video on YouTube if you want to rewatch it, if you join late or whatever. Eventually, probably not tonight, but maybe tomorrow.
And if you guys have any questions or anything, or any kind of iRacing topics or something, you can message me, or I think what's it on your platform? It's the little, what is it, a whisper, I think they call it, the little box
whisper
thing.
Oh yeah, message. Yep. And of course, so you're in one of our Discords, then you can.
Yeah. If you go to my TikTok profile, there should be a link there. You can join my Discord from there. There's a Linktree link, and you can join my Discord from there. And then you can message me right on Discord or whatever. So, yeah, if you guys have anything iRacing specific, I know I was answering. While we were racing tonight, I had a lot of brake bias questions because I was talking about how I was adjusting it. So, and I was actually able to demonstrate it really well, because after my pit stop, I forgot to put my brake bias back where it was supposed to be, and I about spun out going into the corner. So it was a great demonstration on the changes that the brake bias can do to your car. It was an accidental demonstration, but I saved it and put the brake bias back where it was at, and all was good for a while. So
there you go. Got to recover. Close us out, Shane.
Yep. All right. Y'all have a good night. And don't forget, hold your brakes.